Hi guys. Wow. These last days were very, very mutative and transformative in my life. It is just the beginning of another phase of my journey. And I can, if I want to relate this directly to the mechanics of the Maya, to the human design knowledge, which really now I dive into a deeper dimension of it, which I'll try to share with you a little bit. But if I want to put the emphasis on the one thing which is important here is the passenger consciousness. And I'm diving now into this new phase through the teachings of non-duality, and this I want to give the credit to a very, very dear and close friend of mine, which just hammered delicately on my very very defined head in the last few months, that I didn't want to listen. You know, I'm this very deaf person. To
turn off.
Sorry, that was my Bluetooth entity here that just informed us that it is closing. It closed itself, shut itself up. Thank you for shutting up. Okay, so this very defined head of mine with these two very deaf gates, you know, that are in my nodes, in my seeing. I'm a deaf seer. My conscious nodes, 39, 38, the provocateur and the fighter, which are really very deaf. They didn't want to listen. And it's interesting because before human design, I want to give you just this background. Before human design, I practiced very deeply and in a very total way, you know me, in a very radical way. I practiced 7 years of the work of Byron Katie. And of course, it brought me to look at non-duality this way or another. And it's very interesting that now, after surrendering to my design for the first cycle of 7 years of deconditioning, now just began the quarter of duality. This is really amazing to look at the whole thing. I mean, this is really very, very I mean, we can't create this. This is, you know, the synchronicity of the totality is so beautiful. So I'm dedicated to my human design journey more than ever. And in the quarter of duality, I was confronted with this very unpleasant and repetitive cycle of conflicts that are created because the Maya is all about duality. And when we identify with the Maya, we are going between these two poles of good and bad all the time and identifying with the movie while actually the passenger is not the movie, and the passenger has the privilege to just sit there and watch the movie. And when we watch the movie, we can really experience a lot of things, but we just watch it. And the identification is the point where we lose the witness stand and we become the movie. And when we believe that we are the movie, there the suffering begins. Now, I'm not going to get deeper to it now. From this point of view, I think it will reflect in my sharings from now on, this way or another. It can't be not there because that's the way I see now. But I just want to share with you 1 minute that I had this week that I think changed the whole thing, that suddenly I just got it. And we are entering now the week of formalization, yes, of the gate of formalization, youthful folly, the fourth gate, that is part of the channel of logic. And all the time, this gate has the mechanics of giving logical answers all the time, and asking why and answering in a very logical way, in formulas. It creates formulas or expresses formulas that supposed to solve all the doubt and the questions and the why questions that appear all the time. So it's interesting to see that, and is part of the cross of explanation. And I'm just sharing with you now something that can't be put into words. And the whole thing about what I'm going through with this revelation of mine is that the mechanics of the Maya, the knowledge of the human design, is so accurate. And it's not only accurate, it actually makes it easier to realize and to embrace this passenger consciousness. But the minute that we are totally immersed in the details and in the names of the things in the Maya, which continues, which this is the voice in the throat of gate 62 that says, I think. If we are identified with the I think, therefore I am, we are lost in duality, because the Maya is duality. And the minute we are lost in the thinking and we believe that the I am is the one that thinks, then we lost it. And I just got it. I mean, these days, I think yesterday and this morning, I saw the connection. The connection is amazing. I'm listening to Non-Duality lectures, which are really eye-opening. And I'm blessing my journey that I had no control of. Of course, it was, I don't know, the synchronicity of the totality that brought me on this, or created this aspect of consciousness, which reflects through Gaya. And this Gaya is walking in this trajectory that is her trajectory. And the total surrender I had to this experiment and to the knowledge, but through experimenting it, now is showing me the deepest, or I don't know if it's the deepest, but a very amazing and a very deeper understanding of what it is to be the passenger. What is it actually? Self-reflected consciousness and the passenger consciousness. And it's the minute that you can't explain it, and this is the cross of explanation, the gate of formalization, the minute that you can't explain it and you can't express it in words, then you are in the realm of the oneness, of the non-dual thing, because everything that in duality, in the Maya, in this dream, in this illusion, can be expressed in words and through thoughts and all this dual experience. But when you want to express or explain something that cannot be explained, that's it. The duality collapses. This is really deep. I mean, that's the best I can explain. I don't know what you got from it, but but I hope you did get from it something. And for me to see gate 4 now with these formulas in the beginning of the quarter of duality, and the quarter of duality is very logic. We began with the gate of leadership, gate 7, and now we are in this mental stream of logic, of understanding that duality, when you're immersed in the duality, when you are in this Maya and you identify with the Maya. By the way, the gate of identification is also logic. This logical stuff is really needed in order to understand the Maya, the rules of the Maya, to explore the Maya, and to give the formulas of how this duality, how these realms of duality works. But when the passenger just watches this, there are no formulas and words to describe the I am that is the passenger consciousness. So this is the whole thing together brought me, I really don't have words for it, but it's a very unique feeling. And I remember that I had a few times in my life this deeper understanding that it's actually an abstract realization, collapsing into myself and realizing something that is beyond words. And now I'm so grateful because the human design knowledge, the deeper realm of it, not all the little details that people are immersed in, and they have all this right and wrong talks about, but the real depth of understanding the program and us as an aspect of the program, and nothing's personal and no choice, and all these things are exactly the foundation that when we really live it, collapse into it, surrender to it, then in time we can actually wake up. And that's exactly what Russ said. Russ said that the human design system, when you embrace the strategy and authority and you surrender to your mechanics and you stop making mental decisions, you just let the body, the vehicle, do its thing, then your life are going to be more and more resistance free. And, you know, we will feel better. Things will be easier. It doesn't mean we are going to be richer or going to have a relationship or things that we fantasize. It's not about this. It's about just living from a non-resistance place. And of course, people who surrender to the experiment, it happens to them more and more. But Ross said that not everybody wakes up. There are people that will wake up, but the strategy and authority is something that we need as a foundation to the possibility of waking up into our true nature. And now it all comes together and I just get the picture. And for me, it's another layer, a very deep one in the rabbit hole that I was initiated to these days. And I am thankful for my dear friend that didn't give up on me. on this strong and very, very fixed mind that, wow, well, gets a little flexible, not too flexible. So we begin the quarter of duality with understanding that the formulas that the mind has and the cross of planning that is in the background frequency in our program, all these formulas about relationships, these are just mechanical formulas. We can't put a relationship in a formula. And we can't do this because we are each and every one of us is a different aspect of the totality. And the self-reflected consciousness expresses or experiences itself differently through every one of these pieces of the puzzle. So it means that in this realm of Maya, in this realm of reality, or what we think it's a reality, this life, this program, each and every one of us is different. So when two people meet, they can't be, there is a formula, but that only works in this relationship. But still, we can't, and we were talking about it, I think, last week. I think I mentioned the fact that the transits always changes us. So even two people, the same couple that meets every time again and again, they meet differently, they experience the moment differently, and that's why we can't put anything in a formula. The only formula that really works and really helps us to sink more and more in this back seat and not interfere in what happens in the movie, and just watch it and have our little part of it this way or another, is strategy and authority. Because strategy and authority, what they do is they take the power of decision making from the mind, and while doing this, the mind can begin to do its job as observing what's happening in the movie. That's the only thing that this mind can do. And when it does it, because we are defined differently, we have a different way of seeing. And then when we come together and share these things, it's really interesting. That's what Ra used to call outer authority or inspiration. I see it as inspiration. And this thing has nothing to do with running our lives or other people's lives. So if we talk about what we see here in the transits that happens today, so we still have the channel of the Alpha with Mercury in the gate of the army, the seventh gate, the role of the self, and of course the North Node in the gate of influence. So we have the channel of the Alpha, and which is a logic leadership channel. And we also have the channel of logic, the Sun in the fourth gate, and also the Moon now is in the fourth gate, and of course Neptune in the gate of doubt. So we have this channel. And this is a part, the fourth gate is a part of the cross of explanation. We have the fourth gate and the 49th gate, the gate of revolution in the solar plexus. And on the other side, on the unconscious, we have the channel of the channel of structuring, the genius to freak, yes, the 43 and the 23, this channel of the genius of freak. And really the people with this channel, by the way, they really need to learn explanation skills, otherwise they are not understood. We know this. By the way, if we look at Ra's chart, of course, he had this channel in his unconscious nodes, and he, of course, had the fourth gate. So he was really, and he also, by the way, his only gate in his open solar plexus was the 49th. He wasn't the cross of explanation, but he had the cross of explanation in his nodes, and he was really, what he did was he became a master in explaining the formulas of the Maya. That was his gift to us. And he did it so good, so well, so clear, that was what now every time that I get deeper and deeper in my process, and I'm looking at the things, the teachings that he gave me, I can see that they appear to be more and more accurate and more profound. And it's interesting that while I'm being overwhelmed again and again from how accurate and brilliant his explanations were, I also see how people are drawn to listen to all kind of interpretations and exploration beyond the human design. And I'm lucky to have this very narrow head, so I'm not going there. But it's really interesting because I was asked a question that I promised the woman who sent me the question that I would answer in this video, because it connects to everything we talk about. She asked me, and I was really shocked from the question. I mean, it took me a few minutes just to get, where did that come from? She asked me, what happens, I mean, how do we use the strategies that come from the cycle charts? For example, if I'm a projector, an emotional projector, and I have the strategy of a projector and a emotional decision-making process, what am I going to do if in my Chiron I'm a generator? By the way, I'm an MG, and which strategy am I going to use? I mean, I was kind of really shocked because I'm so devoted to the pure mechanics of the human design. And I hardly even, people send me all kind of information for me to say what I think about it, but I just don't have any, I mean, my body wouldn't open. It's not the right call for this very narrow-minded hermit. So I'm not opening these things. And just this week, I got these two things. I had one question about a student of mine asked me, shared with me that there is somebody who talks about the strategy of the projector, that it's not as Ra says, and now I have this weird question about which strategy do I use. Okay, so I want to go back to the pure mechanic of the Maya and explain the formula for us, okay? And it's a very logic formula in order to have the anchor on this realm of the Maya. We are born with a strategy. We are born, our natal chart is the map. Our natal chart is the map for the treasure. The treasure is passenger consciousness. We can relax in the back seat if we just surrender to the mechanics of our design, which is the mechanic of the aura. And the aura comes from the type that we are born to be. The fact that I have cycle charts that could be, let's say, a manifestor, or could be generator, it's not relevant. These are not me. These are energies that, yes, they add the flavor to a part of my life because something in the program wants me to experience things in a certain way, and they bring me these energies through my adventures, through other people that come and become a very strong influence or whatever. But I will never be something else than a 2-4 emotional projector. It's not, and the motivation doesn't change. And we have flavor. We have, and I want to get deeper. I know this video goes to places that I couldn't imagine, but it's all no choice. The realization of me watching the movie and not being the movie, which hit me these days, through my experience, not only through mind, of course, also helped me understanding these cycle charts in another dimension, because I have this year, my solar return is very, very, very challenging. And I feel the challenges and I go through them day by day. And one of the reasons that I really got into deep difficulties with myself is because I again and again looked at the chart and saw, and I could see how these imprints are showing in my life. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, what can you do? It happens. I can feel it. It's really sometimes overwhelming to see it and then to say, oh my God, that's what I'm going through the last few months. And now I remembered that I already saw it a few months ago and said, oh my God, I mean, how am I going to go through this? And it's like a challenge. And just yesterday, I got this understanding about these cycle charts, and specifically, I looked at my solar return, but then I understood there's the Chiron return, and there's the daily transits. Everything is the same. It's still the movie. When I'm in the passenger seat, nothing is the same because the passenger is in a non-dual situation. It sees what it sees, and it can see something which is really, it can see the vehicle going through a depression mode, and it can see the vehicle going through, happy period. I mean, and everything changes. I mean, that's the whole thing about the world of duality, that everything is changes, and actually the only constant thing in the Maya is the change. So when I'm sitting in the back seat and I'm not the Maya, I'm in the back seat, I'm looking at the Maya, then I can understand that everything is changing. So now I feel depression, and then I will feel happiness, and then I will be high on my wave and down on my wave. But this is all part of the movie, and when the passenger just watches the movie, it's not the same thing as identifying with the characters on the screen. I mean, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. I really hope so. But for me, it's a life-changing understanding. Okay, so if we look at the changes in the transits every day, so every day there's something, the movie changes. I mean, we become the character in the movie, Gaya, for example. Now, Gaya will experience on the 15th, she will experience the perfected form, which will condition her spleen. So she would feel things, but still the I am, the passenger consciousness, is just, the passenger is just watching this, watching what the transit does to this Gaya on this day. It's not that Gaya will become intuitive and whatever. No, it will be an expression of the daily transit. This is really, really interesting to watch. So again, after the perfected form, we are going to experience the transformation, the channel of transformation. And here it's interesting because, again, this is the gate, the 32nd gate that I really personally really like it. The only thing that endures is change, but this is only in the realm of the Maya. For the passenger consciousness, the only thing that endures is it's seeing, it's witnessing the movie, because the movie changes all the time, but it doesn't move. It watches. Wow, this is really interesting. I don't know if, for me, it's really deep. Okay, so in the 16th, after we experience the channel of transformation, we are going to have the taste of the preservation, the channel of preservation, the only direct connection between the sacral and the spleen. We are going to have the Uranus sits in the 27th gate of caring, and I really can see how this issue of nourishment and caring is really in the air in everybody's movie since Uranus got there. I mean, it's there. To care for ourselves, to nourish ourselves, because this is the 27th in the first line. It's about nourishing ourselves, and when connected to the gate of values, the gate of the cauldron, this very tribal energy of preservation, the channel of the design of custodianship is really going to color our experience in this caring and nourishment and taking care of the tribe, the basic tribal values that help us to survive. And of course, if we look at the 18th gate, that Venus is sitting there, the 18th gate, the gate of correction, seeing what's need to be fixed and corrected. When we have this channel conditioning us with the channel of logic, it's going to be very interesting. We are going to nourish in a logical way, and we will want to be nourished in a logical way and correct and bring the correct formulas in order to bring us to a better future. This really, and we can all just move through this energy, and while the mind is not making decisions, we can really, through strategy and authority, get what correct for our movie or the movie we are watching, because everybody watches from their own little perspective. I mean, it's really Wonderland. Actually, it is Wonderland. Wow. Yes, and what we see here is really a reminder that everything is really moving, and the experience and the emotional waves and the individual pulse, it's all moving. We are moving. we are going through endless change, but actually I will rephrase it. We are watching an endless change. And when we are not totally identified with it, I'm beginning to feel that there is a difference. I'm just in the beginning of this realization, so I need to go through it more in order to let it sink into me experientially. And, I have this abstract mind, so for now I just realize the whole abstract feeling of it, and it will sink and become more and more experiential, and I hope that Gaya will share it. Unbelievable. So I really want to encourage you to sink into this passenger seat. It's amazing, this friend of mine, that we are talking about this and going through this journey together. He said to me the other day, the most important thing that Ra said was about the passenger consciousness, and that's the thing that we speak about, we hardly speak about it, and the reason that we hardly speak is because it's beyond words. It's beyond this duality realm that is called the Maya. So that's for today. Interesting. I'm going to continue pondering this and contemplating this whole thing in my mind, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.